Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Ryan, the official host of Reddit Voice, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys another episode of r/ProRevenge. Before we do though, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button and that notification bell to stay up to date on all the latest videos. Taught a lesson to my idiot boss who tried to get credit and promotion for a software I made and fired me over it. I was working in a finance company last year. One day, I proposed to my manager that since I have a computer programming background, I know that for a manual job XYZ, automation can be done using some new tech and it'll reduce 500 man-hours per week. He also has some tech background, so he says it hasn't been done because it can't be done and behaved with condescension. I, being bold-headed, and with shit to prove and CV to build, developed it on my own, in my own time on my home computer, then compiled it into a binary, single executable file without code, and gave it to him. He got permission from IT department to run it on his computer and was utterly sure that it won't work and he would get to laugh at me, but it did. Even though the software works, Idiot Manager took it as an insult somehow and banned me from using it, giving some insane reason that doing it manually was much more effective, which was a bummer because it was working beautifully. Fast forward a quarter or so and my manager was hard-pressed for some brownie points during appraisal. So in examples of showing initiative, he used my software, but without mentioning it. Some super senior manager took notice and gave him a promotion and a raise. Now instead of being a sensible guy and coming clean to get code from me, he calls me in his cabin, behaves rudely, and says I need to submit code for that software. I asked him why. You had said we won't be using it. He's like, either submit the code or you'll be fired. I was already fed up being treated like shit by this shit stain just because he was somehow jealous. So I said, F off, I won't submit the code. I know enough law to know that you can't sue me, and I resign. I came to know later through my colleagues that this is what he must have wanted, so that he could take the entire credit himself without dispute. Little did he know there was a malicious code module hidden in the executable file which checked for a 1 or 0 on a remote GitHub repository every time it was run. If 1 or no network, do everything as required, but if a 0 is received, that's emergency signal. I added that little code because his behavior was very shitty to begin with and I didn't trust him. I was planning to remove it after its official implementation, which never happened. So I went ahead and changed that 1 to a 0 after I was fired, to ensure no one used it without my permission. Although he couldn't get the code, he did have the executable file, and I was not going to go to the company anymore. So in his arrogance, he called a meeting with his boss, his colleagues, and my whole team, to show them a demo of this awesome software, quote-unquote, he had made. He was using it on his laptop every day without my knowledge. But today, the 1 was a 0. And as soon as he pressed enter, nothing happened. Pressed enter again, nada. Suddenly his laptop was frozen and nothing was working anymore. It took him a while to realize something fishy was going on and he took out the laptop battery to switch it off. By then, all the Word, Excel, and PowerPoint files were encrypted and the executable file had erased itself out of existence. I used the same code, without the malicious module, to get a better job at a different company, where I'm much more appreciated and the job is also fun. Then the whole COVID thing happened and now I'm cozily working from my home. My precious colleagues at that shitty company keep telling me that they're being forced to go to office. So somehow it was the best decision I had made, accidentally. The idiot boss's promotion and raise got cancelled because he couldn't produce what he promised. He also got reprimanded for losing a lot of important company data, which he attributed to some unknown virus, which wasn't believable because no one was allowed to put anything on the office laptops without security clearance from the IT department. He called me one night, drunk, angry, threatening me. He knows what I did. I feigned ignorance and quoted something like shit happens to shitty people and blocked his number. But I had to tell someone about this flawless victory over stupid without being implicated. So here it is. Update. Hello people, thanks for all the likes and comments, I love you guys. I'm overwhelmed to say the least. There are some questions which keep coming up again and again, so I'm answering them here in the post. I tried to answer each of them in the comments individually, but now I have to sleep. Question 1. Being a finance-related company, they generally have stringent security measures. How could IT department allow the manager to load the program on his laptop, and why didn't they check the network communication or run it through an antivirus? Answer. This is not the kind of company a lot of people here are envisioning. Yes, they have security measures like blocked USB ports, firewalls, etc. in place, but just so that if a client visit happens, they can qualify. Most of the employees in IT department are highly underpaid, sick of red tapeism and blame games. So, if it's not a very weird request, they generally just ask for an email from the project manager and load whatever software they need. Especially custom ones, because they can't really verify them. Horrible practice, I know, but no one cares there. If shit happens, which is quite frequent here, everyone starts showing their email copies to everyone and it becomes a mess. Another reason is the financial data which these guys process is historical, and hence not very sensitive. Obviously they pretend to care, but even if someone stole it, it's not like some sensitive insider trading info which has very high value. Maybe that's why no one cares much. Regarding firewall restrictions, they are also quite lax. Like I mentioned in the comments, they keep blocking websites when they realize people are wasting time on them. Common time waster banned websites being Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, most porn sites, most game sites, etc. There have been instances when people have been able to open a porn site if it's quite new. Once it's known, it's blocked promptly. Obvious websites like Stack Overflow, GitHub, Bitbucket are not blocked, because they don't see them as time wasters and someone keeps requesting access to them for productive work. Oy. Sorry guys, I had to cut for a second. Did you hear me die there? They did run the program through a basic antivirus. It didn't show up as suspicious, and there can be a lot of reasons for it. Primary being shitty antivirus. I keep checking it on my computer and it's not detected there either. Maybe because the code doesn't seem familiar enough to it. Maybe because I used Golang. Maybe because they just suck. I don't know, and I'm not an expert in antiviruses. But the ones that I've tried in VM are QuickHeal, McAfee, and Norton, and all three of them don't show anything. That company was using QuickHeal. Question 2. Why did you have to encrypt the files? Why couldn't you leave it at self-destruction? It's a felony. It's a crime. Answer. Yes guys, I know it's a crime, and sadly I don't really have a fancy excuse for this. I was just plain cocky and angry. I felt I wouldn't get caught, and that this guy was up my ass from a long time. I instinctively knew he would do some weird shit when I handed it over to him, so I wanted to teach him a lesson. If he did something. If he would have implemented it, I would have replaced it with non-exploit version and no one would have known. If he would have given me a sane reason not to implement it, that also would have been fine, even if he wouldn't have fired me. Equals coerced resignation. I might not have triggered it from outside because of the risks, but when he stooped so low as to claim it as his own while getting rid of me, I lost all sense of self-preservation, left the company, and just let it all go kaboom. I knew that I'd only encrypt the docs he was working on, and nothing more. Then that and the general protocol is to just format the affected laptop afterwards. No one really bothers there to trace the source or to notify authorities. Random malware/viruses can and have happened there before. Also, due to my personal history with that guy, I kinda knew what he would do and what he wouldn't. Having said that, a lot of shit could have gone sideways, and although I was super careful at each step, it could have turned into a horrible nightmare. Anyone getting expired by this, do not do this, please. Question 3. How do you know what happened in that meeting? Answer. My ex-colleagues told me everything over drinks later. They're unaware of my involvement. Question 4. Can you get caught due to your GitHub repo, as they can trace the homing signal to that? Answer. It's an anonymous repo made with a fake email ID. It just consists of some garbage, generic-looking HTML texts with a yes or no hidden in it. I never log in or access it directly, and though unlikely, Even if GitHub saw its access logs, I'd never be traced back to my actual IP. Question 5. Sometimes you say you were fired, and other times you say you resigned. Answer. I was asked to resign. I didn't have any choice. It's the equivalent of getting fired. I chose to resign peacefully because I already had my eyes on another company which needed me. I did not want this black mark on my CV and did not want to keep working by telling on this guy and the seniors, creating an even hostile work environment. That job wasn't worth it anyway. Question 6. How long did it take you to make it? 3 to 4 months. Question 7. What tech stack did you use? Golang for coding, Linux as an OS, some external libs, but mostly stdlib provided everything I needed, compiled into a single statically linked binary target for Windows 10. Question 8. Why couldn't you just sell it and get rich? It's not that easy. It'd have taken years convincing security compliance and things I generally wasn't in a mood to get into. Getting a job in another company and then implementing it in there was easier. Got a good package because of it. I'm building up on it so that I can start my own consulting firm in a few years when I can have some senior perspective of tech plus finance. Question 9. The final aftermath of the manager? He was given an offer of a promotion and a raise contingent on implementation of this software, which never happened, so the offer got cancelled and he had to go through a lot of embarrassment. The reprimands I talked about were mostly because some client meetings got delayed due to the missing Excel and PPT files, and he had to make them again over the next 2 weeks. I guess he must have had some versions of backups in mail. I came to know that he was able to reproduce them again eventually. Question 10. Can it ever be traced back to you? Since I manually copied the files on my manager's USB drive, then he himself went and got the approval for its installation on his laptop, saying that he was the file owner and responsible for it, and that he himself executed it, in the process of encrypting/deleting only his own files, I don't come up in the picture at all. Even if tomorrow he tells the truth to everyone, there's nothing that points to me. I've erased its existence from my side. All I have to say, I don't know what the F this guy's talking about. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the story. In case you think it's fake, well, too bad. Sometimes reality is stranger than fiction. And with that, my friends, that's all the time we have for today's video. Did you like it? Maybe check out some of our other stuff and even subscribe. As always, my name's Ryan, the official host of Reddit Voice, and I look forward to seeing each and every one of you guys in tomorrow's video.